Hi, good afternoon. My name is Diana Lee, and I'm the program manager for high temperature reactors, which includes fluoride salt-cooled high temperature reactors. So today I'll be discussing our proposed NEIP scope for these areas under RC-5 and RC-6. And I'll go through all the scopes and then we can discuss questions in the end. So jumping right in. For high temperature gas reactors under RC5, I first wanted to note that this scope is available for collaboration with the UK through the Engineering and Physical Sciences Research Council. If you want more details on how that works, I suggest you contact the NEIP folks. But if you have any questions for the RC5 scope itself, you can contact me as your federal point of contact, or you can contact Hans Gauger, who is our National Technical Director. So for this year, we are again interested in phenomena related to primary coolant boundary leaks and how cavity air enters the pressure vessel. So this is affected by a number of different factors, which includes primary helium inventory, break location, break size, etc. And we have funded previous research in this area with the NGNP Alliance, but we're always looking to add further detail and understanding to this area. Of course, for all experiments, we're looking to have NQA1 standards followed. And specifically for this year, we're really interested in the spatial distribution of air and helium in each of the reactor building cavities during blowdown. We are looking for proposals that will investigate how that's affected by the different factors I mentioned, and we want to understand what the concentration of oxygen will be in the vessel due to various breaks that may occur. This is a gap that was identified by industry, so I highly suggest that you contact the different vendors in the US. And also we included several references with this call, and I highly recommend that you review those references because they provide details on work that's been performed and gaps that have been identified by industry. And finally, for this scope, I highly recommend, actually we require that the experimental facilities that you plan to build be scaled to the General Atomics 350 megawatt MHTGR. So for the fluoride salt-cooled high temperature reactor scope under RC6, we have two different areas that we are seeking proposals for. We don't require your proposals to cover both areas, just one of these areas. And again, any results should be prepared via an NQA1 program. For the RC6 scope, if you have any questions, you can contact me again, or David Holcomb is your technical point of contact. So for the first area that we're seeking proposals in, we would like to get evaluations on possible storage systems for pebbles after they're used in the core. This is interim storage before they would be discharged long-term into dry storage. So for a light water reactor, the similar system would be the spent fuel pool and the fuel handling system. But for an FHR, we're really interested in having a passively cooled system for the pebbles. And to give us a system, you really do also have to understand the requirements of dry cast storage, because you need to know what current dry cast storage systems can handle in terms of decay heat, so that you know how long you have to store the pebbles in whatever system you would propose. And so you also need to understand the fissile material inventory to know how long it will be before you reach this required decay heat. Also, for light water reactors, when there's a broken fuel rod or a broken fuel assembly, there is special storage technology to handle these items. So likewise, for an FHR, we're looking for solutions to store broken and damaged pebbles. Also, we're looking for solutions on how to handle these broken and damaged pebbles. I guess please keep in mind that current spent fuel technology and may not be developed specifically for the FHR pebbles, so we will also look for details in your proposal on what gaps need to be filled to meet the requirements for FHR pebble storage in dry storage. If you have any questions, again, you can contact David Holcomb or me for more information on that. And the second area that we're seeking proposals for, we're looking for a physical demonstration of a DRAX or direct reactor auxiliary coolant system. We're looking for proposals that will simulate all expected operating parameters, but we're also looking for the system to be able to simulate accident conditions. Also, you may have a reduced capacity system, but you should use prototypical materials and temperatures. And finally, we would like proposals to include consideration of tritium mitigation needs for this system. And that is all I have. And if you have any questions, I'm here right now, and I believe Hans Gauger and David Holcomb are on the line too to help with questions.
We'll take our first question as hopefully Hans can get online.
Okay.
This has to do with FHRs anyway. So what kind of technology is considered for passive decay heat removal?
Well, it's not a DRAX system, but something similar to a DRAX system, but in the cooling area could be an example of what we're looking for. So just something that we wouldn't have to actively, I guess, operate.
We'll stay on the line for a couple more minutes. Please submit your questions if you have them to the GoToWebinar application question box. For the RC 6.2 FHR work scope, is developing new technologies for DRAX, for example, a new heat exchanger concept, also being considered?
We'll have to see the details in your proposal. At this point, I guess if it is reasonable, we'll consider it.
For the RC 6.2 scope, is there an FHR reference design that has been identified?
Well, there are several FHR designs you can look at. There's no specific design that we're requiring you to use, but there are industry designs, and Oak Ridge had a detailed design, and there was a point design that was also made by Oak Ridge. So you can look at all those areas and see what details you have.
For RC6, is a heat pipe version of DRAX being considered that has specific on/off temperatures?
I'm trying to envision what that would mean. I mean, we're looking at the back end, so I'm not sure what the heat pipe portion would be, how that would be applicable. Maybe David, you can give some input on this.
Well, I certainly think that the heat pipe might be a useful thing under 6.1. That could be an effective natural circulation or natural decay heat removal to keep the fuel cool. I have a harder time envisioning the heat pipe system, but someone could propose a technique to use heat pipe to sink the decay heat into the ground. The challenge, of course, is in all of these systems is taking it from the reactor vessel and sinking it into the environment. But we're asking for your best thoughts. If you think that you can most effectively sink the amount of heat necessary that for an FHR into the environment, we're interested.
Is it acceptable if a proposal only focuses on tritium removal mechanisms?
I would suggest that that would not be as high priority, because that should be part of the RC 6.2 scope. It shouldn't be the only part of the scope.
Okay, I'm going to thank Diana and David for being on the line to answer some questions. If you do have any additional questions, please, you can either contact Diana and David directly, or you can contact one of the folks at the NEUP integration office to help you make contact with individuals. So thank you. We have our final presentation of the day scheduled for 4 p.m. Eastern time. That is RC7 scopes, which are molten salt reactor scopes. So please join us then.
Thank you.